Okay, this is my project. It's on libraries in the past, present, and future. So we'll start with looking into the past. So the Roman library in Latin is the Bibliotheca Romae, so that is a Roman library. Libraries started all the way as far back as ancient Greece, and when we're looking at the ancient Greece piece of this, there are two libraries that come to mind that we should talk about, and that is the library that was located at Pergamum, which you can see on the map there of Turkey, and the library at Alexandria. These were built by a number of different Greek kings, and they were supplied by a number of Greeks. Now, the reason we talk about these is because Roman libraries take their influence straight from this, and we'll talk about that more in the next slide. On the right, you can see a picture of what remains of the library at Pergamum. So we don't have a whole lot of examples of the libraries because most of them have either been destroyed or burnt down, and the books that once were there are no longer. So the Bibliotheca in Rome, an actual Roman library would have looked something like the picture here on the left. The library consisted mainly of a large storage room for books and a porch on which one might read or take a walk in a garden, because you didn't take the books out of the library like you do today. You took them off their shelf, you read them, did what you needed to do, and then walked out. There weren't tables or really a whole lot of amenities that you might find in today's library. It was just, they were rooms meant for reading. They were also adorned with a number of paintings and busts, and really, in all senses, they were warehouses. So this is more like the picture on the lower right, where you see a man taking out scrolls, and then you see a couple other people walking around with their scrolls. It's just a big warehouse for storing these items. This fulfilled a number of needs for the Romans, mainly a need for knowledge. They looked like beautiful buildings, like everything else, and they were used by everyone, but mainly by Roman men who were looking into political cases and things like that. But you could learn everything from agriculture to about the history of the Gallic War, or the history of the Alexandrian War, even for that matter. So these are ideas of what the Roman library would have looked like. Great men such as Caesar had great ideas and great ambitions for Roman libraries. Caesar's ideal was to actually build a number of libraries in the city, and he actually didn't accomplish that. So that's kind of an interesting fact, as well as the quote that is given to us here by Pliny the Elder: "Ingenio hominum rem publicam fecit," which just means he made men's talents a public possession. And that is talking about a man by the name of Gaius Asinius Pollio. He is the man who is given the credit for building the libraries out at Pergamum, and he supposedly came to Rome to talk about how the library at Pergamum was created and put together, and the Romans liked it so much that they actually followed the same plans. Again, these were simply warehouses for books, and with ancient books, a fun fact about those is when you owned a book, you often would take notes in the margins of what you read. And so it gets this new idea that there's a prestige of to the book with who owned it. So if you got Julius Caesar's very own copy of the Bello di Gallico, he probably had some interesting notes in there that maybe weren't originally published. Because of this, books also were libraries were seen as temples of wisdom. And what we know even more about the libraries in Rome were mainly, the first two were put together by Augustus, who's pictured on the right. One was placed on the Campus Martius and the other on the Portico Octavia. So on the left, you just see two people that have reading materials. You have a gentleman in the middle who's reading, and then Augustus on the lower right. And that is what you need to know about the past.